everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Quad Damage Podcast. As always, I'm Medium, joined by Deadforge and Robert Yapp. Say hey, guys.
Howdy.
I'm joined by another gentleman. There's an immersive sim out there you may have heard of called RetroSpace, and it's weird, it's bold, it's unforgettable, and we're here to talk with the creator behind that madness. Let's crack open the airlock and meet the developer reshaping sci-fi horror. Please welcome Bonk with Wild Gentleman. Yay!
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
No, very excited, man. But before we go any further, Deadforge, you want to do the honors?
Oh, yeah, sure. I can. So for everybody watching Quad Damage, the usual viewers here, you know that I have one kid. I now have two. I have two boys now. So I have a just
congratulations.
A little over a month old boy now.
Oh, awesome. Congrats.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
We've done a great job with your first kid, so I'm sure you're going to repeat the success.
You're saying you've created another character. That's what
I
you're
have,
saying.
yes.
Another playthrough.
Keep rolling.
Deadforge Part 3.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
all right.
We can't go any further unless we take care of one small detail, Deadforge. What would that be?
Yeah. Almost forgot. Let's
Without
get
further ado,
booming.
Dead booming.
Bonk, welcome. We got a lot to talk about because this is a pretty cool, pretty complex game. We all pretty much just downed the demo over the past couple days. I've been talking about it. I guess the easiest place to start is just kind of who you are, who the guys are. Where did this project, start to percolate? How did it come about?
Yeah, actually, we are the White Gentlemen. We created a really, really strange game back in the day called Chicken Police, which was a totally different game in a totally different genre. It's actually this animal noir adventure game. It's black and white. It's totally unique looking and strange and weird. And it's an adventure game. So it's really, really different than RetroSpace. But we formed our studio as just a bunch of friends and some industry veteran friends. And we just wanted to make games. So no matter the genre, no matter the style, the field, just making great games. And Chicken Police was our first shot as the White Gentleman. And since then, we released a bunch of games, mostly adventure games, because after the release and relative success of Chicken Police, we had to do some more. But we always wanted to make a really complex FPS game because we are such a huge FPS nerds ourselves. And we never wanted to make an immersive sim, especially because what is immersive sim? So that's an interesting question in itself. But we never wanted to make a complex game like this. But as we started to developing the game, we just added features and features and features, and they were always more ambitious than the one before. And finally we got to RetroSpace, which is almost 4 years or 5 years in development. It's hard to count because it started out as basically as an internal demo for two guys of the team. Me and one of my colleagues, we started to working on the game after we finished Chicken Police, and we actually started it because of our shared passion. We both loved sci-fi games and strong atmosphere and narrative games, first-person shooters, as I said, and general games that gives the player a high degree of freedom. So essentially, those were the foundations of RetroSpace, and we just started piecing together a small demo from like assets from everywhere, basically, and it became actually a pretty huge level with a bunch of secret passages, shortcuts, and all that. So yeah, it started 4-ish years ago, but it had a very different vibe back then. So although retro feel was already there, it would have been this Soviet era space age sci-fi parody set in an alternate 50s. So yeah, it was pretty different than what it became.
Wow.
Did it have like first-person shooter bones at first, and that kind of just got gradually overwhelmed by the the
Yeah,
other
actually,
genre
it was
concerns, or was it
Immersiveness of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was more like almost like a boomer shooter. So it's a really simple, just go to and kill everyone kind of shooter. But even in the initial phase, it was like heavy on narrative, and as I said, it already had some like side routes and shortcuts and all these things. And yeah, gradually it became more and more complex. So like a year or so after the first demo, we find ourselves in neck deep in this immersive sim development, which is kind of a strange thing. Like every new feature you add to the game basically breaks everything else. So it's like just iteration and reiteration till the end of time, basically.
Join the Quad Damage memberships and get the additional quaddage for all the hard-hitting conversations the public don't see, on-screen recognition, quizzes, and voting opportunities on who we invite on the show. Extending invitation does not guarantee appearance. They may tell us to f*** ourselves. And more.
God, that sounds so complicated.
In Sims,
So you were
maybe.
mentioning before the sound broke up a little then, so I missed a little bit of what you were saying. But you mentioned before we recorded that you intentionally chose each game to be different, taking place in different eras and having a visual look. Then, so how did you go from a chicken noir thing, which is a very distinctive choice in its own play, to make a game, which, as I mentioned before, I've personally played that myself. I played it on Stadia and I absolutely loved it. How did you go from that to RetroSpace? Was it a mechanic or something like that? What was the moment where you're like, this is what we're going to make as our next project?
Yeah, actually, we always start, no matter what game we are starting to develop, we always find the mood, the atmosphere first. So we are aiming for a specific feeling or era. And so far, we for each of our games, we always selected a really distinctive era. Like Chicken Police is this black and white noir. We just recently released another adventure game, which is like in this almost like a Victorian era, like an Agatha Christie feel to it. And now we have RetroSpace, which is like a totally different 60s, 70s era retro futuristic aesthetic. Yeah, I don't know, man. We just love really distinctive styles, and we always wanted to make games that are in genres or styles which are pretty overlooked. And when we started 4 or 5 years ago, the development of RetroSpace, these 60s, 70s nostalgia was really in its infancy. Basically, everyone made the 80s nostalgia games and series, and so everything was like this neon lit 80s feel. And we thought that the 60s and 70s are pretty underrated, actually, especially in the gaming scene. Like nowadays, it's coming back, but I think we are still in the infancy of this wave, this retro wave. So yeah, after games like Alien Isolations and games like that, we thought that this can be a really nice spot where we can capture the imagination or the attention of many players. And the other aspect was the immersive sim aspect. Basically, we are all huge fans of games like System Shock 1 and 2, so and also Prey and Bioshock and games like that.
Yes.
So yeah, we are basically, after we find out that we are actually doing an immersive sim, we were basically just laser focused on this style. And yeah, we with the retro futuristic aesthetic.
Yeah, I would say that the game definitely like bleeds those inspirations. Like you can really see them. There's different little things that you're like, oh, that was kind of definitely this was inspired by this and so on. And you were talking about the 60s and 70s because I think when I like saw this stuff, trailers or something like that on the game, I wasn't sure which kind of era it was going for. But when you get in the game and you're going to like the lounge type area and there's just like disco music going and the lights are going, and I'm
I
like,
love the music.
oh yeah, this is very distinctive. It's definitely like a 60s, 70s vibe.
Yeah, but it's great that you mentioned that because we don't want to or never wanted to overdo it. So like being in this era is an important part of the aesthetic, obviously, and even the story, even the lore of the game. But we never wanted to be too much of a joke, if that makes sense. So we don't want to make a parody. Like RetroSpace has a certain style of humor that's obvious from the get-go. So we are mixing humor and horror, but we never wanted to overdo it. And I guess we nailed that. But yeah, you played the demo. You say that,
Yeah.
or players will play the demo and they will say. But yeah, that was our aim, basically, to like find this fine balance of between horror and humor, and also in the sci-fi aesthetic, make it disco like and this 70s era, but not too much that it detracts from the immersion.
Yeah.
Basically.
The horror really surprised me. I didn't expect it at all. I knew that it had horror elements, but when you're actually playing it and you can hear the heavy breathing and the flashes on the screen, I'm like, holy crap, man! It really actually.
Yeah, I have to say that one of those spiders
aback.
just like about gave me a heart attack in the air ducts or whatever I was going through, and it was just like, and I'm like, oh shit.
I was trying to be scared myself, but I kept throwing up all over everything, so it really kept me from being too surprised. I was more shocked. I was like, I'm doing that?
Yeah. I was trying to sneak. So I was trying to sneak around, and I had the flu or whatever, so I just kept sneezing. I'm like, this is not helping me.
I tried that with the turrets. I thought if I sneak underneath it, perhaps it won't. No, they took me out. And I didn't know what was going on with the sneezing, of course, and or the coughing or whatever. But the guy constantly saying everything was shit, that made me laugh a lot every time that he was saying that. Because I was like, yes, you probably would think that if you were in this situation right now.
Yeah, actually, the cloning arrows which you get after you died are such a huge thing on this game, because partially it can cause really chaotic and funny situations. Like just you said that you try to sneak and you sneezing all over the place. Obviously, the enemies will hear you, and that's unfortunate. But that was a crucial part of development when we designed these cloning arrows, because we wanted to basically push the player out of their comfort zone. Just enough not to just to basically we didn't want the players to just play one specific type of play always and all the time. Like if you're sneaking everywhere every time, you basically make the game more boring for yourself. So we wanted to give opportunities to the player to a little bit step out of their comfort zones. obviously, if you are such a super amazing gamer sneaker, you will never be hurt and never be die, and that's totally valid as well. But most of the players will probably die a lot and experience these cloning errors, which can spice up their gameplay pretty much.
Yeah.
There's a pretty good example of you pushing people in a way, like when you come into that first kind of major event, and you got the turret looking right at you, and then if you jump down, there's a guy like right to your left. It's like, fuck you. It's like,
Am I the only one that got taken out by
try to
that
sneak past
turret?
that.
I got taken out by that turret without even realizing it was there. That it was a turret that was killing me.
Here's a fun thing: is I went through the same thing, right? And as soon as it opened, I saw the turret and I just backed up. I think it got one shot at me or something. And I was like, there has to be something else other than just dropping down here and taking like massive damage. So I went looking around, and I went into my MSIM knowledge, and so I backtracked a little bit into the more open area. There's this giant fan, right? And if you look at the map, you can see on the other side of the fan that there's an area, and if you look on the map, there's like nothing there. So I go, and I'm just like, I hit it. I was like, oh, I didn't do anything. And then I hit it again, and then it started breaking off the blades. And I was like, okay. So I broke off every single blade, and I went through there, and that just completely like looped around that entire area. And it even unlocked a lot of other things, including the room that you not necessarily need a head to open, but you could open it with it.
Yeah.
I picked up a box, and I just held the box in front of my face, blocking it from the turret, and let the box take the damage.
There you go. Yeah. I did find out you can just stand directly under that turret and it can't get you.
Yeah.
And then I found out, like, I ran into the other two rooms that are like across from it, and I found the cleaning spray.
Mhm.
And I haven't done much with the cleaning spray, but I'm sure you can like electrify people with it or
Yeah.
something like
You
that.
can do that.
But
too.
yeah, that was it was just funny because you reload it, you're like,
Want to support your favorite Boomer Shooter podcast? Well, tough luck, because we're all you've got. Visit the Quad Damage affiliate store for the most bangin', most boomin', most please give us your money stores on the internet. Well, Amazon anyway. Only available in the US because we're too lazy to set it up for any other country.
yeah.
Speaking of which,
I love it.
Speaking of which, Bang, is there anything in the game that, like, people won't immediately notice it? Because we've already discussed there are several options to get around the same problem. Is there, like, a particular method you're like, they'll never find this, you're particularly proud of it or something, that wouldn't usually be picked up?
Yeah, actually, the thing that I myself most proud of from the game is, or one of my favorite aspects is that we incorporated a bunch of typical video game tropes into the world. So not just into the game, but in the lore of the game, basically. And that's one of the reasons why the game's protagonist is a janitor, actually. Since stealth and environmental manipulation are pretty important in the game, we came up with the idea that janitors work in the background, beneath the curtains, so to speak. They are like these good ghosts of the space station, quietly making sure that everything runs smoothly. So that's why there are so many secret paths, service tunnels, and ventilation shafts everywhere, because they use that to work. So that's why the hero has the light indicator in their helmet and the sound meter and all these helpful UI elements, because as a janitor, he doesn't want to disturb the scientists doing their work on the station. So we wanted to every gameplay mechanic to make sense in the world of the game, basically. Like dying and respawning, which we just talked about, and these cloning error things. So basically, in many games, you just die and respawn it, and you take it because it's a video game. But in RetroSpace, it's a huge part of the story that you are cloned and cloned again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. It reminds me of I don't know if you know the Journey to the Savage Planet or those two games. It kind of reminded me of that whole like cloning, and you get a little messed up every time that you die. You get more. And the way you were talking about like the janitors being these like good ghosts, like preparing things behind, you got like you're going through the crawl spaces and there's like the signs, janitors this way, or I ran into a hidden janitor room that had a teleporter in it that I couldn't use, and so when I found that, I was like, yeah, there's definitely something going on with these janitors that's a little bit different than a usual janitor. I'm like, they got a hidden teleporter room hidden away somewhere.
Yeah.
Classic, just like Diego.
Yeah, basically, that's the lore or the mythos of the janitors will be pretty important in the story of the game. So, of course, there will be some huge conspiracy around them. So, it will you will find out that neither you or the janitors in general are just simple janitors, of course. But yeah, one of the reasons to make this role was to make sense of all these gameplay features within the lore of the game, basically.
Yeah, I figured it was gonna get kind of crazy once you make it to the office, because there's a bit of a twist there that happens that I thought was super cool. Yeah, so given that you're making an immersive, right? What's your favorite part of like the creative process? The writing and the world building, or any of the elements that go into?
Well, as an indie dev, I do a lot of stuff. Like I'm the writer, the lead designer. I cut all the trailers, and I'm partially the sound designer. So I do a lot of things. But actually, there are two specific phases during development which I really like. The first one is the pre-production phase, when we start piecing our ideas together with the team. A lot of brainstorming is happening, and generally we are super free about everything. Like, this is the phase before money and budget comes into the picture.
Yeah.
So it's really carefree and dreamlike state. Later, the reality always comes and comes hard. But yeah, before that, the planning phase is really neat, and it's really free. And probably my second favorite phase is where are we now at this moment. This is the part when the game is actually done, like it's all there, and the brutal deadlines are already gone, and you still have a few months to tweak things before release. Before this stage, the development is usually extremely fast and chaotic, and can be pretty crunchy as well. But once you reach this point, a few months before the release, we can finally start treating our game like players would see it, if that makes sense. Like, we start to play our own game like players do, because before this state, we are so laser focused on several aspects of the game that basically our own game becomes a stranger to us. So this is the phase when we start to play and play and play again our own game, and it's so liberating to reach this point, basically. So yeah, probably these two are my favorite phases or aspects of the development.
It kind of raises me the question: how I guess up to date to the full game is the demo? I guess the one that will be available when everybody.
Well, most of the systems are pretty up to date between the full game and the demo, so it's on par basically. But we still tweaking a lot of systems, and I definitely have to highlight the enemy AI here, because that's such a huge aspect of the game and such a hard thing to nail, because in this game, the enemies don't just come at you and attack aimlessly, but also need to pay attention to like lights, the sounds, the environmental effects, and even their own faction, because we have infighting in the game and quasi-faction system in the game.
Yes.
So we have to take an endless number of possibilities into account. So while most of the general gameplay systems are totally fine in the demo already, like we will be ready to release the full game in this state. The enemy AI is one thing we will tweak it until the very last moment before release, because it's such a pain in the ass basically to nail. So yeah, that's one aspect we will surely tweak further. Yeah.
Do you think the enemy AI and any systems in relation to that would be, I don't know, what are the harder kind of things to balance whenever you were making the game? Yeah.
Basically, I think enemy AI is hard in every genre, but in like these imsim type of games where you really need to do a lot of systems work together, like physics system, sound system, light system, everything. It's like basically every time we give a new ability or behavior to the enemy, the entire game's dynamics are completely transformed and messed up usually. So we need to go back and rebalance everything. So this happened like 100 times during development, but we try to make it bearable in a way that we designed like 10 or 10-ish enemies in the entire game and made them totally unique to each other, rather than designing 100 types of enemies into the game. And we wanted to have a smaller cast of enemy characters in the game, but make them totally different to each other and make them memorable. And that was the way that we tried to manage this a little bit better. But yeah, overall, enemy AI is a huge burden for immersive sim developers, and yeah, we will tweak it.
I think the enemies are becoming quite iconic at this point, even though the game hasn't released. And the way I always define that is that if you were to just see the silhouette of an enemy, you could still tell what game it's from, and that way you know it's been designed well. And if you were to show a silhouette of the spider or the bug with the arm that keeps attacking me and killing me in the corridors, I couldn't kill it. I used the hammer to try and hit it, just because I didn't have the gun with me at the time. But yeah, I think they're really very
that's great feedback actually, because designing the enemies was one of the most important things early in development. The Motmanaut character was the very first we thought out, and we always wanted to be sure to like skip the space zombie trope, if that makes sense, because almost all the sci-fi horror games, they are just space zombies, even in Dead Space, which I really, really love. But the necromorphs are just space zombies with spikes on them, basically. So we wanted to make something more funky, more unique. That's why we chose these animal and plant hybrid enemies, which are, we thought, probably more memorable than if we go to the amorph space zombie trope kind of route.
You ever been in the right place but wearing the wrong thing? Ain't ever gonna happen again, brother, because you can now buy the sexiest apparel this side of a John Romero hair products line. Visit the Quad Damage Amazon merch store and get that shiz delivered on Prime.
Damn.
You're gonna look good.
I guess a lot of our questions kind of smush into each other from the player's perspective. Like, say there are no enemies, and the immersive sim usually isn't defined by its enemies typically. more about like, you usually think of it more like, okay, like a Rube Goldberg convention, like things kind of cascading into each other and you playing with the environment, making it work. I guess what was the mindset that y'all had about balancing the player freedom, and then also kind of, what were the pain points to where you're like, okay, once they start playing with their toys, like what starts to break? Like what's the stress point where it's like, okay, that pulled a little too far, we're gonna have to, reel it back?
Yeah, I think we had to temper our ambitions at one point, because we already made a system in the game where everything is can interact with everything else. Like if you have a water puddle, you can electrify it. You can drop a flaming thing, then it will be put out. Basically, then you have oil, you can burn it. So all these environmental systems that can interact with each other, they give us so much of almost like a sandbox playground to play around, because we have this huge developer room with every feature in the game, and we also have 10 weapons in the game. Both weapons can be upgraded 2 times. We have the mutations in the game. 10 mutations also can be upgraded 2 times. Also, we have 10 gadgets in the game. Tech gadgets also can be upgraded 2 times. So we have all these things and all the environmental stuff. So the players have so much opportunities to build their own characters, basically their own character types or play styles. That when we had all these in the game, we that was the point where we said that it's enough. It's more than enough, actually, because we are a relatively small team. Like we are 7 or 8 people, or something like that. Because we have like someone is coming and helping in one thing and then go. So, but yeah, basically we are like 7 or 8 people on the game from the start of development, which is a really small team for such an ambitious immersive sim game with so much interactable systems. So yeah, basically I don't even know what was the original question, but we have so much things already, and there was a point where my colleagues still came up with super great new ideas for the game. Then we started to say that that's for RetroSpace too, because we basically reached the breaking point of the game, because we have so many systems. And also just one more thought about what was really tricky to nail. It's basically the balance between this huge freedom the player has and this sandbox type of gameplay, and the fixed narrative structure we have in the game. That was a really hard thing to balance, basically, because for RetroSpace our philosophy was to make a strong and relatively linear main narrative, which has like a fixed starting and end point, but also gives the player a huge amount of freedom to approach it. And also we have huge areas. Like the area you saw in the demo is one of the smallest the game has to offer. So we have these huge labyrinthian areas you can really, really lost in. And so we basically try to balance out our mainly linear main narrative with like side activities, hidden collectibles, a lot of backtracking, and generally really free to explore huge locations, basically. Also, we have what we didn't show in the demo, because we have so many things we can't show in that small demo, but we also have NPC characters you can basically not just find and talk to, but gather at your own base, and they will open like new mechanics of the game, and they have side quests for you, awesome, which are totally optional. So you can do them your own pace. So yeah, outside the main narrative, which is quite linear, we have all these extra features in the game, which you can tackle
How
as you
long?
want.
How long's
basically.
the game expected to be?
Well,
That's a lot of game for your money there.
yeah, actually, we started out when we started developing the game. We said that it will be a really nice 10-hour long game, like a really rounded, small experience. Now it's more like 20, 25, or yeah, it's really depends on how the player plays the game. Because if you want to find every nook and cranny in every area, I think it easily can be 30 or 40 hours long. So yeah, it became a huge game in the end. Yeah.
I mean,
burning questions, Rand.
I think
yeah,
like
go ahead,
Prey, for
Deadforge.
instance, was like I mean, people on average beat it in like 15 hours. I pushed it to like 50 on multiple playthroughs. So it's definitely one of those things that it's going to vary from player to player for sure.
Yeah.
But it's the great type of game that you don't need to like the hours assigned to it don't mean as much as they do in other genres, because it is. But it's like an RPG. A lot of times it isn't 100 hours of quest and combat, right? It's a lot of tinkering.
Yeah.
It's stuff that matters. It's just not stuff that people would necessarily want to watch you stream. You know, right? Not every minute is scintillating, but like all of it's part of part of the thing.
Yeah,
you gotta
and
get through some of it.
that was
cool.
also the important aspect why we developed the game, and the pretty risky aspect that we introducing new systems to the game like after halfway, because we wanted to give new stuff to play even that late in the game. So basically, like in the tech gadgets will be opening for the player like 5-6 hours into the game, and there are some things which are even later. So we wanted to make sure that if the players really invest into the game, even later points or past halfway point of the game, they will find new things to play around, and not just a new weapon, but like a totally new gameplay system. So we wanted to give, which is a little bit risky, because there is a certain type of player who like plays 3 or 4 hours, and if they didn't experience everything the game has to offer, they are quitting. But yeah, we have a really specific type of gamer in mind when we start develop the game and plan the game. So we are more like for the hardcore audience, but also we have difficulty options as well. So yeah, we try to cater for everyone, but yeah, it's overall RetroSpace is more like a hardcore-ish gamers game.
I was being pretty thorough. I ran across a charlatan, right, and I also ran across a hacking device and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna build invest quite a bit of time.
You do love your
That's great. That's great to hear. That's
Yes, I do.
best feedback you can get.
So, everyone, it is time for our famous burning questions round. Our guests have 3 minutes to answer 3 random questions given to us from a random question generator, including the trick question that we added. So, number 1, what's the most useless superpower you'd still be weirdly happy to have?
Oh my god. Useless superpower. Well. I'm really bad at timed things, so just give me a minute. Useless superpower. It will be super boring, but an honest question. I want to really I want to talk with my pets. I have a lot of pets. I have 2 cats and 2 dogs, and I have a gecko, and I have 2 hamsters as well. And I really wanted to know what's in their minds all the time. So, which is probably super useless, because my dog is probably saying just sausage or something like that all the time. But but still, that's a really interesting superpower to have, like listening to animals.
Be good to be in the know.
All right, number 2. If your life suddenly had a narrator, whose voice would you want, and whose voice would you absolutely not want?
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's really, really great. Actually, I really like voice acting in games in general and in everything in general. Oh, I have it. Stephen Russell for the narrator. He's the voice of Garrett, of course, and many other things. But since Thief is such a huge impact, was such a huge impact on me as a person, as a game developer, and just generally, yeah, I want to hear him saying or narrating every move I make. that would be super awesome. That would be great. And who's not will be really bad. Maybe I really love Mark Hamill's voice, but Mark Hamill's Joker voice as my narrator would be super terrifying, and probably I will go insane within just a few hours. So that's my other question.
That's fair.
Or answer. Sorry. yeah.
All right. Number 3. If you could replace every car horn in the world with one sound, what sound would cause the most chaos?
Oh my God. These are so great. Awesome questions. Yeah, if I can be a little bit obnoxious, I would say the sound effect our Mothmanauts make when they see you. That's really horrible scream, which I hope a lot of the listeners who will play the demo will hear themselves. So there is this really horrible scream our amazing sound designer made for the Mothmanauts. That will be a super great horn for the cars. Yeah.
All right. So number 4. What's the most suspiciously specific thing that you could say to a stranger to ruin their day just a little bit?
Jeez.
That's really deep. Suspiciously stupid thing. Oh my god. Please give me another. I will be here 3 hours later.
Okay.
Yeah, skip
We'll
this.
skip over that one and we'll go to number 5. If RetroSpace had a mandatory emotional support animal, what creature would it be, and why would it immediately betray the player?
That's also really great. Well, I need to go with our own head creep animal, which is basically the spider you encountered in the game, which we will be really happy if that enemy will be this kind of iconic one, because we really grow fond of those little creeps, and just as you said, a lot of the playtesters who played the game or played the demo mentioned the spider enemies, that they really hated them basically. So yeah, I think they encapsulate everything really well within RetroSpace, basically, because they are funny and funky, but they can be really terrifying and can cause some chaotic moments.
Speaking of RetroSpace and getting back to the game there, to put you on the spot, huh?
Yeah.
How is it that, when someone has beaten the final game, then how is it that you want them to kind of go away, and what emotion do you want them to feel having explored the world of RetroSpace?
Yeah, that's also a great question. I think they should feel a mixture of curiosity and fear. Like, we built a really interesting and rich world, and we filled it with a lot of secrets and things to uncover. So that feeling of discovery may be one of the most important aspects to the players to feel while playing the game. But at the same time, we're trying to create such a harsh environment with the tough enemies and scarce resources that the player's curiosity will be bombarded by fear, or that's our intention. So we want to give this uneasy feeling, but also the urge to the players to always want to know what's in the next corridor, basically. So we want the player to constantly asking themselves, what will I find around the next corner? An exciting new place, a secret, some very valuable loot? Or will I run into a situation where I have to fight for my life? So yeah, this duality is what we always wanted to achieve with the game, this mixture of curiosity and fear. Probably those are the two core emotions the player will feel.
Well, I certainly felt that playing the demo. I noticed myself after a while, whenever I approached a room, I kept looking back to see where I'd just come from, just to make sure there was an escape route. If when I walked into the room, there was a situation that I had to run from, I knew exactly where to go back. But a lot of that was due to the horror elements of it. It makes like every step that you take in it, you're like, I don't know what's going to happen to me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Fantastic.
It definitely does the the atmospheric kind of dread, and in a world that you want to learn more about. It's creepy, but sometimes you can turn the lights on, and it's not that bad.
Yeah.
I loved the voice.
That's what's so
they were playing. No, you go ahead. You've got something more interesting.
No, I was going to say that's. I think that's why the games like, anything from in the Shock family and anything that's in the immersive sim genre especially is so perfect, because it's such a great synergy of the things that you find, the optionality of like RPGs and stuff like that, and then also the guided but not pushy. It's not telling you there's one thing to be that you're going to feel here, and it's going to be like a set piece. Like everything is sort of its own little micro set of set pieces, and they kind of overlap. I just love the versatility of a game like that feels very much like I don't know what you call it. It's systems driven without being micromanaging and dry and like a stat crunching, but it's guided enough and cinematic enough and like what the options are there that you're pretty much always hitting something that's interesting, and you're not bound to like, oh, here's an open room, we're about to fight. It could just be an open room. Maybe there's going to be a puzzle that comes out of the ceiling and that's what it's for. You never are like looking for tricks and shortcuts per se, even though you are looking for like the environment to tell you something. It's not. That's such a great aspect of it that I imagine not just to play but to develop in, because you're like, I can do anything I want here, and all of it is fine. They're going to be like, I can't believe I got out of there without a good fight or something like that.
Yeah. That's also an aspect which was really fun to develop, but also really hard to balance. Basically, we wanted to avoid timed events and like this really prearranged set pieces as much as we can to create more like totally organic and chaotic moments. But yeah, sometimes you need a little guidance, a little guided tour as well to have this great synergy between the two extremes.
Yeah, because you got such a freedom to be able to not ratchet that up at any time, and no one's going to be like, oh, that was too obvious, I don't like that. It's like, if I wanted you to speed up a little bit, I just I can go like this at you basically, or let you wander, if I want you to get lost for a while.
If somebody told you they were making a game like RetroSpace, would you be like, oh, that's fantastic? Or would you be like, yeah, good luck with that? Knowing what you know and what goes into it.
Yeah, probably both. Making because making immersive sim games there is this meme in the internet that if you make an immersive sim game, your studio will be closed down probably, because that's That's
curse.
basically the immersive sim curse. But I don't think that it's that obvious or that black and white, of course. But yeah, it's like making a game, but multiplying with 10. Like all the problems you can have with the normal, totally. And I didn't say this because of this respect. I really like simple games, like simple boomer shooter games. They can be really amazing and also really complex, like level design and a lot of aspects. But still, if you make a game where every system interacting with 10 different other systems, then basically you are multiplying all your problems by 10 or maybe more. But also developing these kind of games are super fun, like really like a playground of after you have the core systems of the game and you have a dev room where you can play around with these systems. It's just such an amazing and liberating feeling to have. But yeah, you need to get to that point, which is the hard part, basically.
What's the most valuable piece of advice that you've ever received from anybody in the industry or anybody you've worked with as a peer during the development of this game? Or
I have one which I will never forget. I don't even know who said this or when, but it was a real eye opener for me years and years ago. And it's never treat your players like fools, which sounds really basic and kind of obvious, but it's not, because it's actually this never-ending balancing act, and it became one of my core design philosophy in every game I made or we made. It basically means that you need to tutorialize stuff for a certain extent, but as soon as you start holding the player's hands too much and you delve into really obvious category with your tips and tutorials, you, or rather the game, becomes patronizing. So that's something I pay close attention to, no matter what kind of game we are making, and we prefer to build like organic tutorials into our games rather than bombard the players with like pop-up windows. I have actually a good example for that in the demo of RetroSpace, which is I think I can spoil that much. There is a big fan in the starting area of the game, and if I want to teach the player that they can break something, like this big fan, which might have secret loot behind it, I simply place a sign next to the fan that says "Don't damage it." And this reverse psychology will kick in, and the player first instinct will be to see what happens if they damage it. And voila, that's the secret passage. There's the loot. This is how we taught players that certain things can be broken, that there might be some secret, that it's worth looking for secret passages for valuable loot. And more generally, that it's worth paying attention to clues in the environment. So basically, we tutorialize with just this one thing, a lot of stuff to the player, and these organic tutorials are so much more elegant, I think, and they work on a subconscious level. And yeah, basically my favorite advice that I don't know who said and when is that never treat your players like a fool, and that's super valuable for me, and I build every game we make in this philosophy, basically.
One of our previous guests was Stephen Kick of Night Dive Studios. Yeah. Stephen, we posed to him saying, what would you like to ask the developers of RetroSpace? He had a look at your trailer while we were doing the recording on there, and his question was, how much did Night Dive's games inspire you? Was the pixelated look, the closer you get to an object, inspired by the System Shock remake?
Well, yes and no. Actually, I think we had this kind of idea before we played the System Shock remake. But when we played the System Shock remake, it like strengthened our initial idea that this is a good way to go. So basically, it was like a reassuring thing to see, and obviously we became huge fans of the System Shock remake, which became so great. So yeah, it was like a reassuring thing to us to see that others also think in this route, basically. So yeah, it was kind of a late impact in development for us.
I'm going to tag him into that just so he knows that you answered that question with that, yeah. But one of our future guests then, as I mentioned previously, Harvey Smith.
Yeah. Oh my God.
People know him. He's not that big a guy, you know. He's only just helped formulate the entire genre.
He's made a couple games.
Yeah,
just a few.
He's like a demigod in my line of work, or so to speak. Yeah, but
honestly,
I thought about the question which I probably asked him after a few beers, and which is not even especially on the topic of immersive sims, but I really curious that what was the last or most memorable gaming feature or mechanic that made him incredibly jealous, and one that when he saw it, he thought, "Damn it! Why didn't I come up with that first?" That would be really interesting to hear. That what can make a game developer with such a huge image make jealous. Yeah,
I've written that down, and we are going to pose that. I'd be very curious, actually, because, you know, it's the sort of budgets that he works with. You'd think that kind of all possibilities are open to him, but of course, you know, it's only as good as the creative team putting it together. I'm sure there's plenty of things he's seen, and he's been like, you know what, I wish that we came up with that. So I'd like to hear it from a man of his stature.
All right, Bunk. If you had your druthers, if you had your choice, you could collaborate with any developer, studio composer, anybody, who would you pick and why?
Wow, yeah, that's kind of hard. Honestly, 10 or like 15 years ago, I probably would have just listed a bunch of names. I used to have a lot of like heroes in game dev, like Tim Schafer, Warren Spector, Ken Levine, John Carmack, and many others, basically. But actually, I don't have any heroes anymore, because over time I simply realized that even if there is a brilliant mind behind our favorite games, these are actually the result of huge team efforts. And very often these creations can be born in a very specific time and place, so within a specific environment or context, and never again, or never in a very different environment. So so too many factors play a role in making of a game to give the credit to any single person or even a single development team. But yeah, if I had to name someone, it would be great to collaborate with the guys at New Blood in some way. Actually, we know them personally, a lot of them. I've talked a lot with Dave and Trey from Fallen Aces as well. And in fact, I even had a very, very small support role in Fallen Aces. But it would be great to do something more substantial with them sometime in the future. Like their work ethic and the quality standards they maintain are extremely appealing to me. And of course, they're like this punk rock attitude is also really appealing. But we know really well that beneath that punk rock surface lies an extremely dedicated and professional team who are totally, who probably super great to work with. So yeah, maybe the New Blood guys. It would be great to work with them someday in the future.
Isn't it New Blood whose slogan is that they're your favorite developer's favorite developer? Because I think that's very true. Everybody wants to work with New Blood.
And they,
they've got
they
that
hate
sword,
money.
you know?
Yeah.
Yes, very cool.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, we're an hour into it. We've got like 10 minutes to spare. Is there anything that anyone wants to discuss?
Was there ever any talk in the art department side of things about, and this may come up later in the game, of using more like 60s and 70s art? You know, a lot of the art style is technically kind of the Bioshock style of like the 30s, 40s, 50s, maybe even the 20s, that kind of Art Nouveau inspired Grecian Hellenic type looking stuff. Was there any Warhol or anything like that that is to come, or is that just like, hey, people are going to recognize that style from those games better than if we just go crazy with 60s and 70s they might not recognize?
Yeah, actually, we drew inspiration mostly from 60s and 70s era sci-fi movies, like Logan's Run, or the Buck Rogers series, or Space Odyssey, obviously, or things like that. So we are mostly drew inspiration from movies and some like the usual colors or color gradings of the 60s and 70s, but our aim was to make a mixture, like we have these 60s 70s feel to it. And as you said, the music, when the music hit you in the demo, it was obvious. And also we have obviously like disco balls and things like that, but we didn't want it to go too far or too specific into this era. And we also have, as you said, we have some things or elements from earlier eras as well, like some Art Deco and Art Nouveau stuff as well. So we created this mixture. Basically, we wanted to make a space station which is look like as the 70s people probably thought about space stations. Like they have all these influences from the past as well. So not even the 60s. In the 60s, not everything looked like the 60s and the 70s.
Of
so
course.
you know. So basically, we want to make the 60s 70s aesthetic the main draw of inspiration, but also we incorporated a lot of very different stuff as well. Even some minor stuff in the 80s, but mostly from earlier eras like the 40s, the 50s. So yeah, we made this kind of a mutant mixture of styles in the game, and also we kind of created our own as well, because like the art posters you see in the game are kind of a unique mixture of all these eras inspirations. Yeah.
I was thinking while I was playing it, it reminded me of several different sources. Battlestar Galactica came to mind, but I was also getting a lot of, just because it's a big space station in space, that was in the 70s, but I was getting a lot of Forbidden Planet and Lost in Space.
Oh,
yes,
as well. Yes.
Just the whole ambience of the thing was kind of reflecting that onto me. And oddly enough, have you played the game Sulaco?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, it reminded me a bit of Sulaco, with like the voice speaking to you as you were going around and that sort of thing, and it just gives the feeling that you are in something that was very busy at one point, and is now kind of, something bad, very bad happened, and now it's just you alone, but the station itself is still trying to operate as normal. So there's still announcements and that sort of thing. I got that vibe from it as well.
Yeah, that's a really important aspect. It's great that you mentioned it, because that's what we wanted to achieve, this sense of place, this sense of this was a really lively functional place, just almost like the feeling if it was really lively and alive just some hours ago. So that eerie feeling of I just happened to be here when shit hit the fan and everything went wrong.
Super
So,
janitor
yeah.
to the rescue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Time to clean
Like-
this mess up.
I know. Yeah. It's like Gordon Freeman. It's just a regular Joe, but now he's got to go save the world. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
I
there-
definitely. So after The Office, when the little twist happens, it really kind of reminded me of like Half-Life or what was the other thing I was thinking of? Even like a vault from Fallout, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
where the whole station, I mean, it kind of changes, right? And it's a
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
more, naturalistic. It's whatever it is kind of like taking over.
Yeah. That's also
The vibe changes a lot.
yeah. We
I never
wanted
made it to the office, so I don't know what you're talking about. So I'm curious. So, I never made it to the office, so I don't know what twist you're talking about, and I'm kind of curious now.
Yeah, without spoilers, there is this kind of huge twist in the demo and obviously in the full game where the station will be changing a lot and you will need to explore again the areas you were before, but they will be a lot different. And yeah,
Okay.
let's leave it at that. It's worth exploring by yourself. I
Yeah,
think.
definitely. It's definitely worth it.
Oh, very nice.
Nice.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for watching yet another episode of the Quad Damage Podcast. We'd all like to thank Bonk for coming on. This is one of the ones I've personally been the most invested in. I think in a long time, just because I've seen it for so long. I've been like, I like that game. I can tell what they're into and what they're bringing to the table. So that was a really fun thing to see in action this week as we're messing with the demo and getting to pick your brain. So very excited to have you on.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Been following RetroSpace for a while. I feel like now, yeah, for a long time. So it's cool to get my hands on it, and it was cool to chat with you about it. And I had no idea that you were involved with the Chicken Police and things like that. So that was cool to learn as well.
Awesome.
Now, Bonk, if people want to figure out what this twist is that we're talking about, how can they keep track of you and the project when it comes to, it finally comes out on social media and all that?
The most obvious thing is to wishlist the game on Steam, obviously, and play the demo because that's the most important thing for us. And please give us feedback about it. Aside from that, we are on basically every social media site that is in existence. Probably X is our main platform where we have the bigger fan base, and we are really active on it. So we are posting almost on a daily basis. So just follow us on X or find us on Discord as well. And yeah, as I said, wishlist the game and play the demo.
Yes, sir. Do it or you're missing out. And as for, I guess we'll go down the row here of the other 3 barrels of the quad damage shotgun. As you may know, I'm Midnight Medium. I talk about things like RetroSpace. Not as many as I should, but enough. Got System Shock, got all the old long form stuff. If you'd like to take a gander at that, I'm on YouTube, Patreon if you feel like setting your money on fire. Yeah, check me out. Deadforge, where can we find you doing similar ventures?
Yeah. So you can find me at Lord of the RPG on X, Deadforge on Patreon and YouTube. And on YouTube, you'll see me doing reviews, retrospectives, some video essays sort of things. I've definitely talked about immersive sims on many occasions and Prey on many occasions.
A couple times.
So-
Once or twice.
Yeah, you'll definitely...
Couple 100 times.
Yeah, you'll definitely see me eventually talk about RetroSpace for sure. Most likely the demo once I'm able to.
Robert. What say you? What's the hats?
Well, if you want to fling some shit my way on X, it's RobbieYapp80. That's for me personally. The brand Quad Damage is at Quad Dam Podcast on X as well, and on Reddit at Quad Damage Podcast, Quad Dam Podcast, something or other. But anyway, we're on Reddit, active in the Boomer Shooter subreddit, right? And also, of course, YouTube and YouTube Music, depending on whether you want to watch the video or the audio version of it.
All right.
Gnarly. Well, gents, I think that's all we wrote. So without further ado, and until next time,
Keep on
Keep on
booming.
Booming.